as you mentioned earlier. Oh, well, you have to hear it anyway afterwards. But as you were mentioning Brandon, and we're talking about influence and everything else, you're going to have to give it to Eminem. We're talking about he was white MCs before Eminem, but he was the first white MC that was respected as a lyricist that was, okay, this is not Vanilla Ice or whatever, or even a third base after a certain time extent that, I can rap with the best of them. And he wasn't trying to be somebody who wasn't either. He told you he was white trash. He told you he was dirt poor. He never came off like I'm this super hardcore gangster rapper. And we look at his solo album. Listen, granted, I don't go back to a lot of Eminem albums. Outside of Marshall Mathers, a lot of his albums to me are dated. They don't sound good. Production's terrible. But yes, but like I said, as far as influence and impact, though, we're talking about impact. You can't question his impact in the game, though. You can say whatever you want about Eminem now because to me he's trash. He should probably stop or probably have somebody like Royce A&R his next project and say this is how you need to rap again. But if we're just looking, if we put them in a room together, who comes out that room? I think Eminem comes out that room ultimately.
That's a good.
But I love that.
That's a good point.
That's what I'm saying. You put them in a room together, who's coming out that room?
That's a good point.
That's all. That's what it comes down to. That's good.
That's a good point.
And just to piggyback off Renzo, I mean, like he and I share the same opinion about Eminem. I voted Eminem on this. I think if this was a situation where, let's say, Eminem was part of a duo, and if it was M and whoever versus Mobb Deep, I think Mobb Deep walks away with this. But just one-on-one, I take nothing away from Prodigy as an MC because he butted heads with the current legends, with Nas, with Jay-Z. These guys wouldn't have had him on their radar. You know what I mean? If they didn't, think of him a certain way. I know that him and Nas had a certain history or whatnot. Jay-Z included him in Takeover, one of the most legendary diss tracks. So that's a testament to his legacy just as a solo. Eminem, just kind of putting. Don't you think if there was an 8 Mile situation where if it was a battle, it's not that Prodigy would have whack bars because he dropped a hard ass diss against Tupac. Drop a gem on him. Mm-hmm. But I just side with M just kind of off mechanics. I don't think too highly of his solo catalog outside of maybe like 2 albums. But I knew I couldn't vote Prodigy over M. But the thing is, Brandon, you voting Prodigy over M, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. It's not for Prodigy. It's not one of those. You know what I mean? But I just was really one of the biggest I think he needs a stronger matchup. I don't see. I got to do my bracket. M won't make my final 4. I don't know who he'll go up against next, but I'm almost kind of looking for him to get knocked out. But I don't think he's had a matchup on the level of Andre, Raekwon, Nas, Q-Tip, something like that. So because when it happens, I do think whoever the other person is going to knock Eminem out.
Well, y'all know this song because he used it in 8 Mile, which got you a fucking award.
Brandon's not going down without a fight.
All right, let's slide on to the next region. We're heading to the low and 30 region. We're in the third quarter of the podcast, and Rakim was the number 1 seed. And how Rakim got here, Rakim was matched up against J. Rue the Damager, which he pretty much won, with ease. And he faces Busta Rhymes in this second round matchup. And Busta Rhymes, how he got here is Busta Rhymes is a 9 seed going up against an 8 seed Run from Run DMC. So Buster, that was a close matchup. Buster just got out the first round, and this matchup is actually over. So the winner is Rakim 58%, Busta Rhymes 42%. Facebook might be similar, but I'm thinking Rakim is going to get to the next round with this one. I chose Rakim as well. I love Buster. This was kind of close because I feel like Busta's one of those guys where it's hella consistent. Rakim pretty much stopped in the late 90s. You know what I mean? From the 80s to the late 90s. Busta Rhymes was like kind of still around, freestyling. He could still, he's still out here spitting, dropping stuff. I mean, Rakim is still touring, doing his thing. But I almost voted for Busta on this one, but he just got a raw deal. He just got a tough matchup. I mean, like, if it was Busta and Eminem, I'd go Busta.
I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
Yeah, but I gotta.
I might have done the same.
Yeah. Well, you should make these reasons better and towards the flip. If you want Eminem out, you should match him up against Busta.
Well, Slim Jesus wasn't on the radar. So. Listen, I'll take Slim Jesus over Tekashi 6ix9ine. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned him. I was listening to some of his songs though, and it's funny because Joe Budden.
You sound like Onyx.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what. And I was listening to Joe Budden's podcast the other day about it, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like, as much as I want to hate this guy, he's like, he reminds me of Onyx."
He do.
And he's
all right,
like,
we gotta speed this up. Fuck him.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, fuck him. But out of
you went to God. You went Rakim.
Oh yeah, I went with the God, of course. Yeah. I went with the older guy versus the younger guy. That's what it really came down to. Busting another matchup probably would have went to the next round, but you can't go against the older guy at this point, right? At least not right now.
What about you, Ray?
Yeah, I went Rakim as well. That one was kind of, much respect to Busta Rhymes. He's a legend from our generation, but I think Rakim's catalog is just more consistent than Busta Rhymes, even though Busta Rhymes got classic songs for days. I don't think Busta Rhymes, you might disagree with me, I don't think he ever has like a true classic album. Some people say his debut was, I see it a little differently, whereas I think Rakim has multiple classics in his catalog. And, and just the influence he had, the way he started rhyming is the way pretty much everybody after him who was worth noting, pretty much started to rhyme. So I think he just impacted hip hop more. And again, if we're just talking Rakim versus Busta Rhymes, album for album, I think Rakim has a stronger catalog, a significantly stronger catalog.
Word up. So we go to the next side of the board. This is a major one here. We got Method Man from the mighty Wu-Tang Clan going against Snoop Dogg. Right now, Twitter has got Snoop at 56%. Meth at 44. I don't know what Facebook is saying. I believe that Facebook is saying Meth over Snoop. I personally had Meth. This matchup is super tough. I think this is the toughest matchup on this side of the board. Both of them are...
It's pretty neck and neck, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the votes fairly reflect like what it really is. You know what I mean? Both of these guys are hella popular. Both of these guys,
they're big outside of rap too.
Yeah.
They have television and movie presence.
Yeah, big outside of rap. They're fair opponents. I would say these guys are fair opponents.
Yeah. This is one of the more even, I think, matchups. Yeah.
For me, I just went Meth because I just couldn't forget about Wu-Tang Clan's first and second album and Method Man's first album, and then pretty much like the Red and Meth albums, and like Meth features on anything Wu-Tang related, opposed to like the Chronic and Doggy Style, and then Snoop's got Bush and he's got like the blue carpet treatment. Like he definitely puts stuff out after Death Row. You can make the case for Snoop, but I personally went Meth.
I personally went Snoop, almost for the exact opposite reason that you just mentioned. I was almost looking like, to me, Snoop had a certified classic with Doggy Style. And
Takal wasn't a certified classic?
I thought it was very solid. I don't know if maybe I was looking at as far as classics, as far as Wu-Tang solos go.
5 mics in the source, baby boy.
Listen, man. Let me seek my shit. But like I kind of ranked Takal versus other Wu solos when I was looking at like
it is a weaker Wu solo.
And that's right. And
first album.
Yeah. If I was looking at a standalone, maybe I was looking at it versus his peers within the group. I think when it came to me going with Snoop, granted I had Bun B going over Snoop for different reasons, but as far as this matchup goes, I think I looked at
technically you ain't got Snoop ain't even alive in your bracket.
Well, but since I know the choice, I'm going to like I said, shit.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Hey,
you need to go with Method Man.
But either way, Listen, I had Method Man go. Who did Method Man go in the first round against?
Meth.
No, who was Method Man's opponent in the first round?
Meth went against. I just said it. I just announced it. Damn, I don't even know. Evidence. Evidence.
Okay,
Evidence
okay.
of dilated people.
Yeah. I think for Snoop, for me, like I said, he had a class album with Doggy Style, and he had a heavy hand in the Chronic. And then we look at the era. Granted, we brought East Coast back into the picture, but it was a West Coast takeover. A lot of it had to do with Snoop. At that point, granted, you could Doggy's with Dogfather, was not on the same level, and then after that, Snoop was, doing whatever he wanted to do. But I think in the early 90s, I mean, he was on the Rolling Stones cover, him and Dre, first rap artist on the Rolling Stones cover. He didn't know what Rolling Stones was, other than a rock group.
Right.
To be on the cover, and I think he's a pipe icon now, for better or worse.
Both of them.
Both of them are. But I mean, like when somebody sees Snoop, they know exactly. Listen, he just came out with the #1 gospel album.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he just came out with a gospel album and debuted #1 on the gospel chart.
Snoop is on National Geographic.
Yeah.
But I ain't mad at it though.
So I went with Snoop. It was close. It was close to me, but I ultimately went with Snoop on this one here.
All right, Ray, wrapping this up.
Yeah, I went Snoop too. Again, you hit it on the head. This is definitely a super even matchup. But I think off the top of my head, I like Doggy Style, the album, that much that I know it almost sounds like a weak ass reason. That's what honestly elevates him up above on this one. Stylistically, I think I like Snoop's laid back approach. Like he could be, he's a gangster rapper, but I just like his style a little bit more. His catalog, a little inconsistent, but he's got gems in there, like you said, after Death Row, especially Blue Carpet Treatment, Bush, RNG, the masterpiece. But I think, if we really just boil it down, I think it's just his time at the top during that Doggy Style Chronic Death Row era is really what makes me say Snoop deserves to go further than Method Man. I take nothing away from Wu-Tang. They were a movement, one of the biggest movements in hip hop. And Method Man spearheaded that with the solos. He had his own single on the 36 Chambers with MECHOD Man. But I think Snoop was just the bigger act, and I think I just prefer his style just a little bit, over Meth. So I give it to Big Snoop Dogg.
Okay, well we'll see, man. We'll see how this concludes tomorrow.
Oh, that one's still going, you said, right? What's the numbers on that one?
Well, it's over, but I would have to check Facebook. But I think Snoop.
Oh, okay.
I think Snoop's got that. Yeah, I think Meth is.
Okay.
I think Meth is outie. So we'll move on, man. Last two final matchups in this bracket, in this region. We got DMX and Black Thought, and we got Talib Kweli and Chuck D. So, whoever you feel more passionate about talking about, let's just do that. Because we on time constraints right now. Yeah. So we got X and Black Thought, and we got Talib and Chuck D.
The Talib and Chuck D kind of...
I'll go with the X and Black Thought.
Yeah, I'll go with Talib and Chuck D one.
Okay.
You're the tiebreaker, Brandon.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll do X and Black Thought since that was like closer. In the polls, like Talib is like pretty much watching Chuck D. Of course, I went Black Thought. No Philly bias, but Philly bias.
It was, yeah.
I was a heavy proponent for DMX to even get on this bracket. Okay, so like, this bracket is like we're really taking 4 types of hip hop. We're taking underground, indie, commercial, and mainstream, and putting it all into one. And so my underground heads were like, no, DMX can't be on this one. But then my hip hop street heads was like, no, you gotta have DMX on this, So I'm glad that DMX is on it. I'm glad DMX got past the first round. This is where DMX needs to die.
Damn.
I'm sorry, X. But Black Thought, he's got you on catalog. If you put both of them in a room,
yeah, Black Thought's leaving out within 5 minutes.
Black Thought is walking out.
Yeah.
DMX DMX ain't never gonna give up, but he just gonna he gonna lose by default.
And he's gonna get escorted to jail.
Right.